welcome to the Death of a Dream podcast with your host, Hanna Nuss. I have this very strange voice going on right now. Um, due to just all the things. So I appreciate you hanging on. I would say yesterday, really my one and only great thing was just resting, and I still wake up every morning to do this podcast. This morning was probably the hardest battle of like, no, just go to sleep. But we are still here, just loading up on caffeine and all things necessary to get through this recording and get it done and brought out to all of you. This episode I actually have been so excited about since, I don't know, probably for 6 months I've been looking forward to doing this episode, so I would have hated to sleep past it and miss my opportunity. So let's go ahead and ground ourselves in our greatness. My great thing from yesterday was just resting. Resting when possible and just allowing myself to take time to commit to that fully and just start to heal. And I did end up getting tested yesterday, so we'll see what happens. I don't know if it's not that. This is the weirdest sickness I've ever got. It actually reminds me a lot of, I had H1N1 when there was an outbreak of that at my college, and it reminds me a lot of that. Just your whole, entire body shutting down and not wanting to move, or not being able to move, not really wanting to or being able to eat, all these things. It's super fun, so you should try it. No, you should definitely do every single protocol that is out there, that is being suggested, and then some. Like, just mask, over mask, get made fun of, do it. Don't go to big events. Don't go to any events. Just stay home. We should all just stay home. There should be no more events. I'm just saying. I do love events and Christmas and Thanksgiving, but we should probably just take the year off. And I'm only speaking from a place of, I want no one to feel what I'm feeling ever. No one. And I'm probably not even... Obviously, I'm not on the extreme end where I'm hospitalized, so I can only imagine. So anyways, let's just listen, because it's a real thing. It's really happening, I'm telling you. And let's do those things, right? Let's take the same psychotic precautions that we took in March and April, right? I remember coming home from work, stripping down from my clothes, washing all of them, taking a shower, and then coming and hugging my kids. That level where we probably need to get back to, at least for a little bit, till we die back down. I know the state of Iowa is definitely in a huge influx right now, and we maybe need to reground ourselves on what handling this properly actually looks like. So that's okay. Let's just take time and heal and fully allow this virus to go away, instead of just constantly bandaging it and acting like numbers haven't gone insane. Okay, let's do that. Deal. Okay, so that's my great thing. Just resting, recovering as much as I possibly can. And taking time to do that. I am looking forward to a full weekend of nothingness, quarantining, and then possibly another couple weeks of quarantine. Yay! COVID. Okay, let's go ahead and dive in. So today is my husband's birthday. I'm just saying, it's a big deal. Y'all know how much I love birthdays. I'm just saying this is probably one of the more disappointing birthdays because I can't do anything. I cannot leave the house. I cannot pass go and collect $200. Like, I have to go. I'm in jail. I'm directly in jail. And so this birthday's going to look a little bit different, but I always do birthday episodes for the people in my direct family. So, like my kids and my husband and myself. And I've been looking forward to doing this episode so much because of like the epicness that is my husband or has been. Um, and I think this is drastically different from what I talked about last year because as you grow in a relationship, right, it changes. You go through different stages. And so last year was very much like, dude, my husband's the smoking hottest, which, like, he is. I'm just saying. But this year, it really is about gratitude for who he is and how he's showing up for me, because he definitely doesn't have to. And so this really started with this whole journey. I remember telling him, like, this is what I'm gonna do. And I remember him feeling physically sick, maybe not even eating lunch that day. Um, and right in that moment, he had to make a decision, right? Like, do we support this crazy dream? Because maybe my wife has gone a little insane. Or do we just like guide her safely back to reality? And he supported the craziness, right? And he just said, like, Hanna, I know you. I know when to put your mind to something. I know that you're going to do it. So who am I to say that this is too crazy for you? You know. And that moment allowed me to just jump kind of fearlessly, right? And then the many moments after that. So that was the first moment where he just said, yeah, go for it. You have dreams. You want to do them? Go. Do it. Right? And the next moment was kind of when I came to him and I said, I think I want to do this full time. I think I want to see what I can do. Husband, what does that have to look like? And he didn't come back and say, like, you've gone crazy. There's no way that you can do this. He came back with a very tactical plan of, like, this is what our life needs to look like in order for you to make that transition. And that's amazing, right? Like, he put a measurable goal for me to reach in order to do that. And that goal not only came with him saying, okay, do this, do this, do this, it also came with him saying, like, I'm okay to sacrifice some of the things that I want in order for you to do this. Right? And, like, could you ask for more at that point? Right? Because he doesn't get to go do some cool things or buy certain things because of me wanting to do this. He doesn't get to just go crazy and live just a crazier life. Like, he has to put some things on hold in order for me to get what I want right now. And I think he knows. I hope that he knows that it's a balance. It's maybe looking like a lot of me and a lot of sacrifice for me and my dreams right now, but I hope that he knows that that payback will come in full. Like, this isn't the Hanna show for the rest of our lives. This is like, okay, the Hanna show right now, let's figure out Hanna, let's get Hanna going, and then we'll transition back into the Jordan show. And our life really has balanced out like that for a majority of it. There are just moments we used to just act in seasons, right, where he would have this super awesome season in life and he'd be doing everything, and so I just had to kind of take his back seat, and that was good because I knew in my season he would do the same thing for me. And so that's really where we're at right now, other than it's not seasonal right now. It's been a bulk of this year. a bulk of last year. Um, and he hasn't, we've had difficult conversations of like, okay, bro, I really need you to show up a little bit different than you are right now, just for me, just for my mental headspace, just for everything that's going on. And he did. And he does. And now we're at a place where he's just continuing to do that. And I can't say enough about how important that is. And I know as we work through our dreams and our dream life, like a lot of that movement comes with sacrifice, whether the sacrifice of who you were, the sacrifice of who you used to show up as in your relationship or in your household. Like there's a lot of sacrifice that goes along with dreaming. And I think most importantly, your partner has to know what your plans are and where you're coming from. And your part in that looks like communicating what you want early on. So I couldn't have just been like, hey, I want to leave my job and I'm going to quit tomorrow. Right? Like we had a 6 month plan, almost a year plan of what that was going to look like when we made that transition. And so it takes a lot of work, a lot of honest conversations that nobody wants to have. Like I don't want to have to tell you that I'm not succeeding or that I need more of something. Like I don't want to have that conversation, but right, they need to know what's going on too. They need to know whether or not you see this working out. And the biggest truth of the matter is having your support system on board with you, but fully on board. So, like, let's not keep anything in the closet hidden from them. Let's go ahead and bring it all out. Let's have an open concept closet with that person so that they can go ahead and champion and support you. And my husband just constantly surprises me because he's always like, he doesn't seem like he would get on board with something like this. This is very crazy, very unplanned, very unorthodox, and that man loves structure. And I love him for that. Trust, we are polar opposites. If they ever did exist, we are an example of those. And he's here for the crazy and the chaotic and the unplanned, and he doesn't have to be, because that's not who he is at all. But I think he has a very great understanding of how I need to be loved, and that's balanced by me just flat out telling him what I need and him intuitively feeling or knowing what I need in those moments. And so he's just, I don't know, I think that this is how relationships are supposed to work, right? Like your love and your relationship are supposed to grow. And I think he's just doing such selfless, beautiful work right now as my spouse, as someone who certainly could say that this is never going to work and that I've gone crazy. He's never said that once, right? He's just always said, like, what do you need? How do we go? I know, right? I asked him the other day, like, what's your favorite thing about me? And he said just that you don't quit. Like you don't care. You just go. You do whatever it is you're thinking you want to do, and you go. And I think since that's his favorite thing about me, he has to support that part of me, right? Like, because a piece of him probably just wants to see if it's possible, um, and know that he wasn't the reason that held me back. And he hasn't been so far. And I think, for him, it's a daily battle of like, I know he wants more, like a bigger house or a nicer car or X, Y, and Z, and that just isn't in the cards for us right now. And he still is staying on board and remaining our true north, like holding it freaking down. Could you even ask for a better person in a relationship? And I know that I said before that I didn't want to be a stay-at-home mom who didn't work, like, and I'm not, but can you imagine, right? How much stress and pressure he's taking on for his family, for his wife, for us to live out this dream, to figure it out, to navigate, to stumble, to fall, to get back up again, to keep working, to keep moving. And he's just relentless in his ability to like curb the things that he wants for right now to show up for the things that I want. And I don't know. I don't know how many people are willing to do that, are willing to make that big a sacrifice, are willing to just hop on board. Like 7 years ago, he was like, okay, what? Debt free, what? Okay, whatever you say, Hannah. Like, if that's what we need to do, I'll do it. Right? And that moment, like, drastically changed our trajectory for the entirety of our life. And he didn't have to. And he never has to. Like, he absolutely could hop on and say, Hannah, this isn't realistic. Go back to work. Stop with this craziness, please, so that I can just get the truck that I want and we can build the house that we want and we can just do all the things and scurry off to retirement. And he knows. He knows that this is a better version of me than how I was showing up before, and he wants to keep that intact however he can, no matter what sacrifice that takes. And that's just like the craziest amount of love and support that I couldn't have even wished for anything more. Like, I don't think you can imagine any spouse, any support person's reaction to you saying, like, I don't know how I'm going to make money or what I'm going to do, but this is what I want to do. And I'm probably going to be able to figure it out because I've figured out a lot of things. I just need some time. Right? And for him to just say, oh, okay, how much time do you think you'll need? Right? His absolute appropriate response should have been, okay, let's make money first. Let's not just dive all the way out. Like, let's coast out. Let's drop down to part-time and see. And he just didn't. He just said, okay, let's sit down. Let's put together a plan. Let's figure this out. We really probably aren't that far away from this. Let's make a plan that we're both comfortable with. And then we made a plan. And then I'm certain he felt wildly uncomfortable the entire time. And I'm certain he still feels uncomfortable. That's a heavy load to carry. And he's still showing up for us in a freaking major way. Nothing that happens here on this podcast, nothing that happens with book contracts, nothing that happens with business contracts could happen if he wasn't willing to make this sacrifice for us. And this sacrifice to just keep working, to be the sole earner for our family right now, but also all the other sacrifices, the no's that he has to say, the no's to upgrades and things like guns and bows and arrows and all those things, and the no's to new trucks and boats and fancy trips and all the things that I'm sure he wishes he could say yes to. But this is what I'm going to tell all of you. There will be a payback. I promise you. No one makes that big a sacrifice, loves someone that fully, authentically, truly, through all the madness, and doesn't have some form of major payoff. So if you think that he is not on my dream board as someone that like I need to pay back, and it definitely isn't like that at all, where he's sitting there going, okay, I'm just buying my time, like you're going to flip and help me out, right? Because for us, it's about seasons. Like Hannah's very much in a season of growth and exploration and experimentation, and once she's through that, right, we can move into a season of Jordan getting to do those same things. And it's just knowing that he's willing to do that, and knowing that I'm planning on paying these good works off at some point. I don't know when, but he definitely has been on my dream book since day one of like, I know. I know the things that you want. I know the dreams that you have. I know it, right? And I know that you've put a lot of those things on hold so that I can chase this and I can find what I want out of life. And so, trust. The payback is coming. I don't know. I have these weird, crazy dreams about it like happening this Christmas. That seems ridiculous and crazy, but here we are. Like, it's 2020, man. Let's go ahead. Let's dream crazy. Let's move. Let's make big things happen. And, you know, big things can't happen without someone there holding you up, without someone there telling you to keep going even though you want to stop, right? And sometimes that is like the harshest love sayings, like, well, Hannah, do you want to stop? And I'm like, I do. It's just like, I don't know. And he lovingly just says, like, just, you have to keep going. Just keep going. Do you want to prove everybody right that you couldn't do this? That this wasn't realistic? That podcasting isn't a job? Right? And then I go, ugh, you're so right. I have to keep going. Dang it. Right? And there are just those small moments where if there wasn't someone to rein me back in, who knows where your mindset goes, because it's all about that mindset, keeping it right. And it doesn't have to be right 100% of the time, but if you go to a super low place, hopefully there's someone there that can help guide you back, pull you back in, say, you got this. Nope, don't settle for less. Keep going. And Jordan, for me, has been that person, from the start, has like just always been a quiet, loving supporter. And more than anything, like to step up in that way, to say, like, okay, all things aside, let's just see where you get. Let's go. Right? And especially knowing who he is as a person, knowing that he does not handle craziness well, um, like that's just putting everything he wants aside to see me get what I want. And he does that for me. He does that for the girls. I don't know. That's just like such a selfless love. I can't really even wrap my mind around it. Um, I'm still in shock and awe. I don't even have the right words. I wish that I could speak more passionately about this, but um, yeah, I'm a little short of breath, good people. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think the people in your life can and will surprise you if you allow them to. Like, I would have never expected Jordan to just step in and say, yep, go girl. You go girl. And he has. And then he comes in and like these moments and he's just like soft and loving and caring and shows up for me in ways that I didn't even know that I needed, right? And he just gets me and is getting me more and more as every day goes on, which is I think what you're supposed to do in marriage. I don't know exactly. Um and so I just, like today, beings that it's his birthday, and beings that we are now the same age again, and he can stop saying that I'm old and older than him. Um, I just like want him to know how important he is in the grand scheme of all of this work and how impossible all of this would be without him, and how vital him carrying the load for this season has been, um, and that he will have a payout. That he will, this work, this sacrifice has not gone unnoticed by me. And true to who he knows and loves, I will accomplish the things I'm setting out to accomplish, and I will change the outline of our lives, and he will have his own time to explore, dream, dream fearlessly, dream big, and start moving forward. He will have those opportunities. I promise you. I just feel super blessed because I know a lot of people. I watched relationships where the spouse wasn't supportive, or they were at times, but then stuff got too crazy and everyone started questioning everything. I watched a lot of that, and so it's just so refreshing to see someone unequivocally show up for someone else. Just believe in them, even when there really is no reason to believe at all, to just keep believing just because they know that they need that. Not even because, like, there's really no good reason for Jordan to believe in me like he does. Um, but he does. And I think sometimes he just does because he knows that I don't. And that is vital, right? Because every day isn't going to be rainbows and signed contracts and wonderful, beautiful movement. Most days are low and lonely and unsuccessful. And so having that person in your corner, whether it's your spouse, whether it's a friend, whether it's a coworker, like whoever that's going to be for you, there are just going to be days where they have to believe more than you're even willing to, because those days are the ones that'll knock you out. And Jordan has been that person for me the entirety of this journey. And that is probably the reason why I never stopped. Like, you can't stop believing in yourself when everyone else does. Him and my girls, like, show up, no question, believing in me every day. And so that's what it takes. That's the truth. That's everything. As always, you're smart, you're strong, you're beautiful. What are you going to do? Change the world.